Hello and welcome. You are now looking at google.com, and we are going to start the process by looking at the Google Classroom application. And we're going to just write in Google Classroom into the search box, or you can go to classroom.google.com. Once you've done that, you'll just hit the search. You'll see here that there is a result at the top, Classroom signed in, and you'll go ahead and click that link. Once you do that, you'll be able to come to this screen. If you have not created a course before in Google Classroom, you'll then be able to click continue and then go ahead to the dashboard. Once you do that, then what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to click this button that says create or join a class. You'll then click create class. And then you'll just need to tell Google that you are not a school and you are not signing up with students. Once you do that, then you'll click this button and then you'll click continue. You'll want to give your class a name, a section, and subject. Once you do that, you'll then click the create button. Now what you can do inside of Google Classroom is you can actually conduct instruction, whether or not it is with employees, staff, outsourcers, or even with clients. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, got it. And we're then going to see some areas that we can actually begin to add content. Now you'll notice here that what you can do is you can post certain items to your class, and these can be YouTube videos. You can also post Google Documents. Now in the right hand corner, if you hover over the button, you'll notice that there are 4 things that you can actually post. You can create an announcement, you can create an assignment, you can create a discussion question, or you can reuse a previous post. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to create an announcement. Now because this is going to help us to be more productive, we can either post this item now or we can post it in the future. So you can actually post items ahead of time. You can do all of your posting on one day, and then you can set those posts to go at a certain date. And so, for example, what we're going to do is we're going to write an announcement. We're then going to categorize this by creating a topic. And once we do that, we can then click post. Now, along with the announcement, what we can do is we can bring something in from our Google Drive, or we can even connect a video. So in this particular case, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and connect a video. And when we click the video box, then what we can do is we can actually then search YouTube. We'll see a list of videos that we can actually attach. We can then choose the one that we are going to attach, and then we're going to click add. Now this can also be videos that you have already created, and this would be a great way for you to be able to add in additional information for the person who's actually going to be reading your announcement. And we can add multiple items. As you can see, we've actually added in a PDF by clicking this attachment. We can connect a Google Drive item, as we said. And as you can see here, we've added a Google slide from our Google Drive. We can also add in a hyperlink to this announcement. So all we'll need to do is to click this button and then write in our link. Once we do that, we'll click add link. So once we have everything ready for our announcement, all we'll then need to do is to then click post. We can also create an announcement for the future, and all we'll need to do is to go to hover over the button. We'll click the link. We'll write in our information. We can then schedule this for the future. And we can set a date into the future. What will happen is this will be visible to us. However, it will not be visible to the person who is part of the course or the system. Now, what we can also do is to assign a task, and we can do that by creating an assignment. And if we click this button, what we'll do is we'll write in the name of the assignment, and then we'll write in the exact instructions. When we do that, we can actually categorize this with a new topic, or we can actually place it inside of the same topic that we created earlier. We can then set a due date for this task, and we can do that by writing in the due date. When we do that, we can actually give a time also. Once we have it, then we will then click Assign. Now, note that what we can do is we can put a drop-down box here, and we can actually either set this assignment for the future, or we can actually assign it now. So we can make sure that it appears in the future, or we can assign it now. So what we're going to do is we're going to assign it now. We're also going to assign it to all of the present students. And you'll notice here that our assignment now shows up inside of the feed. And what we can also do is we can go back to this area, and then we can actually write in a question, and we can write in that question in a way so that it must be answered. This is another way of being able to interact with the people that are going to be inside of the Google Tools course. Now, there are some other aspects to the course. We can take a look at all of the students that are there and invite new students. We can actually write in a description for the course. We can determine whether or not those who are considered to be students in the course can actually comment in the class stream. And we can also invite in other teachers. In this case, you might invite in other partners who are going to be working with the staff, and you can have them in on this one assignment. We can change the appearance, and all we'll need to do is we can then either select a theme that Google gives us, or we can upload our own. Now, a more important aspect is how you invite people that you're going to be working with inside of the course. Of course, you can have students, you can have employees, you can have outsourcers. You can use this in any number of ways that will allow you to communicate to a student across a platform. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Students button. We're going to click Invite Students. And what you'll need to do is you'll need to have the student's email address. Once you have their email address in, you'll click Add Recipient. Now, the person or student or employee that has actually been invited will actually get an invitation from Google Classroom, and it'll look like this. All that person will need to do is then click the Join button. Now, that student will actually see the very same thing, except they'll see it from the employee or the student perspective. And so you'll be able to control what they see based on what you post and on what date is actually going to be available. So for example, this future scheduled post is not going to be visible to the student, as we can see here. And you'll see it with this browser. The person can then open the document, and what they can do is once they have completed the task, they can mark the assignment as done. And this can be a very useful way of being able to work together and have conversation with outsourcers. We're going to click Mark as Done. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Google Classroom to take a look at it from the instructor or the marketer perspective. And you'll see that it is then marked done. So you can invite one person or several to a specific class, and you'll be able to work with that class to have conversation and workflow with Google Classroom. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are now going to look at doing audio transcription with Google Voice Typing. So in order to get started, we're going to need to go to Google Docs. So if you're in the search area, what you're going to do is just write in Google Docs. Once you have it, you'll search, and then you'll see a search listing right at the top. You're going to click Google Docs. You'll then enter Google Docs. You will then be in the Google Docs area. Now, the very first screen that you're going to see is going to default to the text document area. So what we're going to do is we're going to start a new document by clicking this square, and you're going to open up into a word processing document. So to get started, you want to go ahead and write a title into your document. When you do that, the title will auto save. One of the things that you'll note about Google Docs is that you'll notice that there is no saving. For the most part, Google Docs will auto save every 30 seconds. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start the voice typing application. In order to do that, we're going to go to the Tools menu, and then we're going to click Voice Typing. Now, one thing you will want to note is that you can only use Google Voice Typing inside of the Chrome browser. So if you have the Chrome browser open and you haven't enabled your microphone, what you'll need to do is you'll need to open up the browser, and we're going to do that now. And we're going to go to the settings. And we're going to go to the settings area here. We're going to scroll down to the advanced settings. We're going to scroll down to the privacy area and click content settings. And then we're going to click microphone in order to customize our mic. If we click the default down arrow, we'll be able to choose the mic that we want to work with Google Chrome. So we're now going to set the default. We're going to close back, and we're now going to go back to our word processing document. So now that we've enabled our microphone, we're going to click this mic, and then we're going to start talking. And when we talk, we'll notice that Google Docs is actually writing the information into the document as we speak. We can actually use a word like period in order to indicate period. Now, if we click the mic as we just did, that'll actually turn off the voice commands. Now, if you want a list of specific voice commands, all you'll need to do is to hover over the microphone. You'll click the question mark, and then you'll see a drop-down menu on the right side. You can then find all of the specific ways that you can actually use Google Docs and actually speak to the document to make it do what you want. For example, we can click Edit Your Document, and if we turn on the mic and we say one of these commands, we can actually edit part of our document. So, for example, if we look at delete last word and we turn on this mic, delete last word. And you'll notice that the last word in the document was actually deleted. So now you have learned how you can basically create documents with your mic and headset or your microphone by speaking into your default microphone, Google Docs, and Google Chrome. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. We are now inside of YouTube.com, and we are actually inside of the screen where we actually upload our videos. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at one of our videos so that we can get a transcript. Now, the transcript is not going to be perfect, but if you need a quick transcript of something that you have done and you don't have time to outsource it, you can actually get the words from your video. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go to this Edit button. That's going to take us to the edit screen of our video. We're going to click Subtitles and Closed Captioning. We're going to set the language for the transcription. That's English. We're going to click Set Language. Once we've completed that, we can now go to the video itself, and we can now extract a transcription of the actual video. So if we go to the Watch page of the video, and we scroll down, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the More area. We can then click Transcript. And then we're going to click this English button. That's going to give us the drop-down arrow. We're going to click English. And then we actually have this transcription. And so to download it, all we would do is we would then left-click and hold down to copy the entire text. And then we're going to copy it into a document. We can then copy the document inside of Google Chrome or Google Docs or any word processing document. Now again, this is not going to be a perfect transcript, but if you need something fast before you could have it outsourced, this is a great way for you to be able to get the text of an actual video that you have completed. Now, it's quite possible that you may want to gather the words from a video that is not yours. Now, you do want to be mindful of copywriting, and you also want to be mindful of crediting the actual creator of the video if you're going to use it in anything that you're going to be using for commercial purposes. However, what you can do is to come to the front of any video inside of YouTube and go through the same process that we went through with our video. We're going to click the transcript link. We're going to click the English transcript, and we're going to click automatic captions. And then we can actually go through the same process. We can actually then copy and paste the entire transcript. And again, all we would need to do is to paste the document inside of any word processing software that we are using. Now, this again is not going to be a perfect transcript. However, again, it's going to be a quick way for you to get to the actual text of a document if for some reason you were going to be using it in something that you were doing. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You are now looking at gmail.com, and we are inside of a Gmail mailbox. And if you actually receive email through your Gmail account, you will be able to achieve productivity through a few apps that work outside of Gmail. Now, these are actually called extensions. And you're going to be able to find them inside of Google Chrome. And if you go to the extension store and type in Gmail, you'll see a number of extensions that you can add to Google Chrome that will help you to gain more from Gmail. Now in this video, we're going to focus on two in particular. The first is actually called Actions for Gmail. So if you go to the extension store and type in Actions for Gmail, you'll be able to come to this extension, and then you're going to click Add to Chrome. Actions for Gmail is going to ask for some permission and give you a notification. You're going to click Add Extension. Now note, this is considered to be beta software and a free trial, and they say that in the future you may be asked to pay a fee for ongoing use. Now once you know that, then you can begin to use the software. So you do have some options that you're going to get inside of the extension. We're actually going to click all of these and then click Save. Now what the extension does is adds 4 buttons to your Gmail. You'll notice that you have an Archive tab, you have a Mark as Spam tab, you have a Toggle Read and Unread tab, and then you have a Delete tab. And what this does is this gives you a handy set of buttons to do some of the frequently required tasks with your Gmail very quickly so that you can move through your inbox. So what we're going to do in this case, we're just going to use the button, and then we can move fairly quickly. Now the second external extension is actually called Email Dictation, and we're going to take a look at that right now. Email Dictation is actually also a Chrome extension. So if you type in Email Dictation into your Chrome store, you'll find the plugin and then you'll click Add to Chrome. Email Dictation will ask for some permissions. You're going to click Add Extension. And then the plugin will tell you it has been added to Chrome. So now what we're going to do is head back to our inbox. We're going to refresh our box. And what we're going to do now is we're going to compose an email. And when we open up the compose box, we're going to notice that there is a mic at the bottom. We're going to click this mic. And you may notice a notification here at the top that says that Google wants to use your mic. What you may be noticing as I speak is that the typing is actually reflecting what I am saying. So this is a great way to be able to use the Google Dictation voice typing program inside of Gmail. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are now inside of Gmail. What we're now going to do is we're going to take a look at some things that we can do in Gmail internally to get more productivity. Now, one of the things that we can do in going inside of the settings area of our Gmail and going here, we will then see that in a space that there is an undo send button. And what this does is this will allow us to recall an email before it is actually sent. We can determine a certain period of time that an email will remain in our box when we send it, so that if we make a mistake or we feel as if we need to go back and retrieve that email after we've sent it, we can actually do that. We can set it for a specific period of time. For example, we can set that period at 30 seconds. So this means then that when we send an email, within 30 seconds, we can actually go back and recall that email if we've changed our mind about it. So if we set this parameter, all we've got to do is then just save our changes. And we can do that at the bottom of the page. The one other feature that we can use in our Gmail box is one that will allow us to preview emails before we actually have to delete them and determine them as being read. And so we can do that by adding in a preview of each email. And again, that preview will allow us to read the email without having to designate it as being read. And this will be of a special advantage now that we have buttons on the outside that we can actually manage our email very quickly. So what we'll need to do is we'll need to go inside of the gear. We'll need to go to the settings area. And once we get there, we're going to click the labs link. When we get to the labs link, what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down. We're going to look for the preview pane. When we get to the preview pane, we're going to click enable. And when we do that, we're going to scroll down and we're going to click save changes. Now, before we begin to use this feature, we want to go back inside of our settings and we want to determine how long it's going to be before a conversation is determined as being read. We can actually control that here, and we can say that we never want this email to be determined as read until we actually mark it as read. So we can use never, we can say 20 seconds, 3 seconds, 1 second, or immediately. So we can use the never button, and then we can then save our changes. Now what happens is that when we actually go and we click an email, you'll notice then that this email can now be previewed, but it won't be marked as read. So we can then manage that email as we see fit, while at the same time we can get a preview of it as we scroll down our box. And you'll notice then that these emails have not been determined as being read. Now, one final activity we can engage in is we can go back into the settings, we can go back to the labs, and while we can add any of these labs, there's one in particular that will help us if we often search our inbox. What we can do is we can actually enable what's called quick links, and then we can click save changes. So now if we search our inbox and we were to type in the parameters CPA marketing, you can actually save that inside of our quick link system. And so in this particular case, we can then leave this as search /CPA marketing, or we can put the URL in here. You can actually leave this as it is. We're just going to click OK. And so now what will happen is anytime that we want to search our box for CPA marketing, all we have to do is go to that link. We can do the same thing again. So you'll see now we've typed in ClickFunnels. And so what we can do is we can click quick link. We'll see that search ClickFunnels. We'll click OK. And now we have that quick link in our browser. So we can use this anytime that we do a search fairly often, and we can use it to very quickly access that search inside of our browser, inside of our Gmail account. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You are now looking at Google Calendar, and you access Google Calendar by going to your web browser, writing in calendar in the search bar, and you'll see a result at the top or near the top that says Google Calendar. If you click that Google Calendar, it will take you to the application. It's likely that you're already aware of the calendar's basic function, or you're likely to have used the calendar. The question is, how can you use the calendar to collaborate and to work with others so that you might be able to complete projects as well as to complete tasks? And to do that, we are going to go into the settings area, and it works much the same as some of the other applications. You'll go to the gear, and then you're going to click settings. The one thing to note is that you can change the default view from the week to the month or whatever you would like to look at whenever you open your Google Calendar. The other thing to be aware of is that you can have all of the events from Gmail automatically added to your Google Calendar. And this is actually done by default, and you would actually have to turn it off to change this. So all of your events from Gmail will be added, and that will actually control all of the other applications that you are actually going to be working with. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the calendar tab, which means we'll go to the very top. We're going to click calendars. And what you're going to notice is that you have a calendar that is going to be your name, and this will be your default calendar, and that's the one that we were actually looking at when we first entered Google Calendar. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click share this calendar. Now there are some important considerations to make. You can actually make your calendar public, and this will be public to the entire internet, and this would allow you to make your calendar an appointment calendar, so that you can actually show people when you are free or busy, and they can actually schedule an appointment. So you can do that by making your calendar public, and then choosing only to share the free or busy information. This would hide the details of your calendar from the public. Now you can choose to keep your calendar private, but what you can do is you can share your calendar with a specific individual whom you want to manage the calendar for you. And this is where you gain productivity. You can actually put that person's email in there, and you should actually use their Gmail address when you do that. And we're going to go ahead and type an address in there. Now before we add the individual, we want to take a look at where we want to give them permissions. And if we use the drop down arrow, you'll notice that we can actually create a calendar where we can allow someone to make changes and manage sharing. So if you have a virtual assistant that's going to be managing your Google Calendar, you can actually give them full control over the events. You can actually have someone only make changes to events, or you can make it so that they can only see your events. If you want someone to have full control and to manage the calendar, you'll want to default to make changes and manage sharing. When you click save or add person, that person will then be added to your calendar. And you'll see that here. And when that person opens their email, they'll get an invitation stating that they've been invited to manage the calendar. Now all they'll have to do then is just go to click the link to view the actual calendar. That person then will be able to look at your calendar. They'll be able to go to a specific appointment, and they can actually make an appointment for you. So in this particular case, we could make it so that the person could write in an appointment, and they can then add that event to your calendar. We're going to go ahead and click edit event, and then you'll see that on the calendar that we have been working on. We're going to have that event added. Now it's placed on the calendar of the person who's actually going to be managing your calendar. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the calendar as if it were yours. And you'll notice now that that event is now on your calendar with an event that has been created by a person who is managing your calendar. In looking at the settings area, there are two other items that we'll want to note. The first is that you'll see that there is a calendar called Get Productive with G-Tools 1. This is actually the classroom application that we were working with earlier in this course. That means that all of the events that we create will be added to our Google Calendar when we actually look at it. And we can either control those notifications or we can add them. The same is going to be true with the person that we are working with. So you can actually ask or request that the person who is going to be working with you in your Google Classroom, that they would actually use their Google Calendar so that they would be able to look at the same calendar you are. Once again, being able to look at the same calendar and work from it will allow you to be more productive. Finally, we're also going to go to the Labs tab. And in looking at the Labs tab, we can use any number of different aspects of Google Calendar that we actually use on a daily basis. Finally, there is a detailed section on our main calendar, which we can look at by going into that particular calendar. We can write in a description in case it is going to be shown to the search results. There are calendar addresses and private addresses that we can actually share, or that we can actually access the calendar from the web. We can export the calendar, and also we can embed the calendar on a website. So in this particular case, we can actually take our entire calendar, pick up the embed code, copy it, and then post it to a website like WordPress. So for example, we can actually take that embed code. We can make sure that it lands in the area that says text in WordPress, where we can actually put HTML, where we are allowed to place HTML code. We're going to write in calendar, and then we're going to place our embed code. We're going to click publish, and then we can view our post with our Google Calendar. And you'll notice our calendar is now on our website. So again, if you wanted to make your calendar public, or you wanted to allow others to place appointments, or if you wanted to keep it semi-private, you could actually do that. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now that we have reviewed some basic functions of collaboration with Calendar, we can now look at managing multiple calendars. And to create another calendar that we'll have control over within our calendar system, all we'll need to do is to go to this drop-down arrow and then click Create a New Calendar. We can then write in that calendar's purpose, and we'll have all of the other details that were discussed earlier. We can make this calendar public, or we can choose to just share this calendar with someone else. So that if you want to have a certain calendar that doesn't have all of your details, but you want to make that calendar public, you can actually do that. What we're going to do now is we're just going to click Create Calendar. And you'll notice now that that calendar has been added. And you'll see that calendar in this area. We can choose to toggle that calendar off and on by clicking the link, making it available, so that we can see the events at a glance, or we can choose not to see the events at a glance. What we can also do is we can also view a calendar that a friend makes public. And we can do that by placing their email address inside of this area, and we'll be able to see the public portion of their calendar. Now, although Google uses the friend term, this could very well be a partner, or it can be someone with whom you're working, or someone to whom you have outsourced a task. Now, if you want to see all of your events at a glance, all you'll need to do is to use the Agenda button. And you'll notice that we'll see the assignments from Google Classroom, We'll also see the events that we have placed on the calendar, as well as everything else that we have listed in this sidebar. If we wanted to take out birthdays, for example, we could do that, and we will only see all of the other events. If we take out the classroom, we'll only see our particular calendar. So you have control over what you will actually see in the calendar in the agenda area, but agenda area is a great way of being able to note what you have coming up at a view where you can just see the line by line events. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You are now looking at the search bar, and you'll notice that we have written in Docs, and that will give us the search result, Google Docs. We're now going to start working and collaborating with documents, and we're going to do that by clicking Google Docs. And if we get this screen, we'll just click Go to Google Docs, and this will take us to our Google Docs dashboard. Now, if you go to the left side menu, you're going to notice that you can work with word processing documents, spreadsheets, and Google Slides. And we're going to take a look at all of those things. Now, the other thing that you're going to note is that in this menu is actually Google Drive, where all of the documents are housed. And we're going to be working with Google Drive in some cases. Now, when we start working with the word processing application, we'll start by clicking this blank page, and we're going to open up a new word processing document. Now, it's likely that you're already familiar with this application where you can write documents. So what we are going to do is we are going to work on collaboration. We can do that by opening a document that's already on our hard drive that we want to work with others in order to edit and perfect. So we're going to go to the File area, and then we're going to click the Open command. And that Open command is going to take us to our hard drive, and we're going to take a look at finding a document. It's going to take us to a certain screen, and we're going to click Upload. Then you'll note that you can select a file from your personal computer. Now, the first document that we're going to work with is going to be a Microsoft document, Microsoft Word, and we're going to import that document into Google Docs. And we'll just select the document from our hard drive, and then we'll click Open. Google Docs will then open the document so that we can then begin to work. Now, we can then work with others on this document by going to the Share button and writing in the names of others who can work on the document. So we're going to do that right now. Now, before we add the person, we're actually going to determine what they're going to be able to do. In this particular case, we want them to be able to have the highest amount of autonomy, which will allow them to comment and edit. So we're going to click Can Edit, and then we're going to send the invitation. You'll notice that Google Docs says that this document is shared with one person, and we can actually do that with as many people as we'd like. We can actually share it with others in order to work on the document. So now let's take a look at what this would look like from the person with whom we have shared the document. So that person will now have an invitation where they can then open the doc in their web browser. And you'll notice now that there are two individuals working on the document. Now, what we can do inside of the document is we can make our own edits, and we can make them alongside of the person with whom we're working on the document with. So in this particular case, we're going to change an area here. And then we're going to write in a comment. And we're going to add in that we're changing a particular line. And once we've done that, we're just going to click Comment. And then our comment will be right where we actually made the edit. So now let's look to see what it will actually look like for the person who originally created the document. You'll notice now that the same line has been edited in the document, that the cursor where the edit is made is color-coded. It's also color-coded with the comment. And we can actually make changes ourselves. So what we're doing is we're collaborating in real time on a document or either asynchronously so that we can actually make our changes earlier in the day, and then someone can come later in the day and actually make changes, and we'll still be working on the document. So now that is basic collaboration. In the next video, we'll take a look at more advanced collaboration. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, the fact that PDF documents are much more universal than Microsoft Word documents, you want to be able to import them into Google Docs and then work with them. But the process is going to be slightly different. So what we're going to do is we're going to open a new document, but we're going to open a PDF document. And we can do that by going to the File command. We're then going to click Open. We're then going to go to Upload. And then we're going to select a PDF document from our hard drive. So once we've selected that document, we're then going to click Open. Now that we have our document in the browser, we want to be able to then work with that document. So we are actually going to minimize this document right now. And we're now going to access our Google Drive. And we can do that by either going to the search bar and typing in Drive or opening up a separate tab. We're going to click Google Drive. You get this screen, you're going to click Go to Google Drive. And you're going to notice the PDF document that we just opened is in our Google Drive. So we're going to click this document, and we're going to right-click this document. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to open the document with Google Docs. Google Docs will go through a conversion process, and then it will actually reopen the document as a Google Doc and make it editable. So we can then make our edits to this document, which was a PDF document. And then if we want to save it back as a PDF document once we have completed all of our edits and all of our collaboration, all we'll need to do is we'll need to go back to the File command, and then we'll need to re-download this document, and we can re-download it as a PDF, as you can see here. Of course, there are also formats which you can actually use, but we're going to resave it as a PDF document. And now we have our edited document that we have collaborated with others, and we can now have a new PDF using the sharing features in order to make edits. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are now going to work on collaborating in real time inside of Google Docs. Now, if there is more than one person involved in working in a document, and you can see that in this case where there is someone else, and you can see that where their icon is actually showing, we can actually open a chat with that individual in real time. And we can do that by going right next to their icon and opening a chat. We can click Show Chat. And what we can do is we can actually write in a message to that individual and have a joint chat. We can write in here as we are working. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to click Enter, and that goes into the chat. Inside of the Google Doc of the person who is actually working with you, they'll get a message notification saying that there is a chat, and they can actually go and open up the chat with the notification button. And you'll notice that chat opens up on their Google Doc, and they can actually go in and type a message right back. Now, another way to collaborate in real time is to use the Uber Conference app. And to do that, what you're going to do is click Add-ons. You're going to click Get Add-ons. And then when you get to this screen, you're going to write in Uber Conference. And when you get the app, all you'll need to do is to click this plus button. You'll need to sign in. And then you'll need to give Uber Conference some permissions, and then you're going to click Allow. Once you've done that, you can actually go to the add-on section and you can open up the Uber Conference sidebar. Now that we have the sidebar open, you're going to notice that when we hover over Uber Conference, it's going to pull up a button that says lock. What we can do is we can actually lock this from additional participants. So what we're going to do in order to start the conference is we're going to go to this black button here at the bottom. That's going to give us a call-in number as well as a PIN number. And when we call in that number, we are then going to be able to join a conference. Now we are now in the collaborators Google Doc, and you're going to notice the same PIN number and the same number to actually call into the conference. And what this does is this will actually give you and another person the opportunity to discuss changes with the document in real time and to do it dynamically using multimedia. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You are now in the Google Docs dashboard, and what we're going to do is we're going to take all of the things that we have learned about collaboration and apply them to a spreadsheet. And can do that by going to this left side menu and opening up Google Sheets. That will open into a different side of Google Docs where you can actually work with spreadsheets. We're going to then open a blank spreadsheet. And then what we're going to do is we're going to import a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet into this Google Doc. And we can do that by going to the File area. We can then click Open. We'll then click Upload. And then we'll select a spreadsheet in Microsoft Excel from our hard drive. And when we find the document, we'll just click Open. And Google Docs will then open this document into its editing screen. And we can actually begin to work with this document where it is. Now, all of the collaboration tools apply just as they did with the word processing document. We can actually share with someone. We can also work with someone in a chat. Now, in this particular case, we do not have the Uber Conference application to work inside of our spreadsheet. So our collaboration will take place inside of this chat application. However, once all of the edits and collaborations are complete, you can go to the File menu. You can then download this document as a Microsoft Excel document. So you can resave it as the same form as which you imported the document. You can also save it as a CSV file. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are now going to collaborate on presentation slides using Google Docs. And what we'll need to do is we'll need to go to the main menu. We'll need to pick Google Slides. Once Google Slides is open, we'll need to pick a blank presentation. And then we'll go to our File menu. We'll then open a PowerPoint presentation. Now you can actually have help to work on the presentation by sharing the document, just as we have in all of the other Google Docs. You can also chat with other people who are working on the document. You can also have comments. And you can also have a chat as long as the person is signed in to the document that you are collaborating with. And you can see the collaborators inbox that they can open a chat. Now, the primary way that you'll be collaborating with a presentation will be with an audience, either a small audience or a large audience, and what you'll be using is the presenter view with Q&A and speaker notes. If you open it up, you'll notice that the presentation will then be playing on the screen, possibly on a projector, And what you'll be doing is you will be collaborating with the people in the audience. You can do that by clicking the Start New area. And you'll notice then that you have a URL that you can give to people where they can ask questions. And if you copy this URL and you're going to display it to your audience, and as you go through your presentation, they will see that they can actually ask questions at this URL. So you'll note that whether the person wants to ask their question anonymously or as their identity, they can then click Submit. In your audience tools, you'll then see that question on your side, and you can then answer the question as you actually present. So using the audience tools is a great way to be able to collaborate with your audience while you are actually delivering your presentation. Other people in the presentation will see the question and they will up or down vote it based on what they feel to be its relevance. And you can make that question visible by clicking the Present button, and then the audience will then see the question that was asked, and then you can actually answer that question out loud. And when that question is presented, this is what your audience is actually seeing on the screen. They're actually seeing the question and they're seeing who asked it. When you have completed the period where you're going to take questions, you can turn off the questions and continue your presentation. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are now going to look at Google Drive, and we can do that by going into the Google Docs dashboard, going to the main menu, and then clicking on the link that says Drive. Those who engage in mobile technology are probably familiar with Google Photos, the fact that you can save your photos to your cloud drive. Also, the fact that you can upload documents to Google Drive. For example, if you wanted to upload a document to be stored, all you would need to do is go to the top menu, click the Upload Files, find the appropriate document. In this case, we're going to upload a zip file, and then we're going to click Open. That will then upload the document to your Google Drive. And you'll see that zip file now here. What you can do also is to make the content organized. We can do that by going to the My Drive link and then creating a new folder. We can create a new category and you'll see that folder in your dashboard. And what you can begin to do is you begin to place documents into this folder. You can do that by dragging the document into the folder. And what you'll find when you go and open the folder, that those two documents will be there. So we're going to go back to our cloud drive and we're going to highlight one of the features that cloud drive does give you. And what you can do with this folder is you can make the folder shareable. So for example, we can then right click this folder. We can click the share button. And then we can choose the individuals that we are going to share this content with. We can determine what the individuals can do with the documents. In this particular case, they can either view or they can organize, add, or edit. Now, one of the things that we can also do is we can use the advanced features. And in using the advanced features, what we can do is have it so that editors cannot change access or add new people. And this is an added level of security once we actually give access to a folder on our cloud drive. We can click Save Changes, and the individual will automatically get an email giving them access to this folder. So let's click Save Changes. And then we will click Send. Now you'll notice now that this document is now in the inbox of the person that you were sharing with. We're going to click Open. And now we will see that they have access to this particular folder, but they don't have access to any other folders. Now, what would happen if they attempted to add someone else to this folder? So for example, they went to the folder and then they went to share the folder. You'll notice that the sharing settings are such that no one else can actually be given access to the folder or the documents in it, so that the actual limitations that were placed on that folder actually worked correctly when we placed them. So we're going to go ahead and click Done. And now we're going to head back to the Google Drive. Now, one other item that we can work with when we are doing collaborative work is that we can actually search our drive to find out what it is that we actually want. And we can use the drive just as we would any other searching mechanism inside of Google. And we can typically find a document just by placing some of the letters in, and we'll be given hints on how we can find the document. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You are now looking at the search results for Google Forms. And if you go to Google search and you type in Forms, the very top result is going to be Forms. So go ahead and click that link. That will bring you to the Google Forms start page, and you're going to go on to Google Forms. And Google Forms will allow you to collaborate and collect data from people that you want information from or from your team. So let's go ahead and start with a blank form. Now, the most basic application of Google Forms would be, of course, to do a survey. And we are going to go ahead and title this Survey. Now, when you're using Google Forms, you can use a number of different kinds of questions. You can also dictate the kind of answer that you're going to have the respondent give you. So in this particular case, we're going to do a multiple choice question. And we'll go and click this arrow where it says you have the 3 dots there, or the 6 dots. That's going to open up into a dialog box. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and write a question. Now, Google will actually offer you suggestions as to what you want to put in terms of your answer. In this particular case, we can go ahead and just use add all, and Google will go ahead and give us those 3 answers. If we want to add more, we can actually do that. We can determine if we want this question to be required. We can say yes. And we've also got some other options. Now, with Google Forms, we can actually do conditional logic so that when someone answers a question a certain way, we can actually send them to a different part of the survey. This is one of the great uses of Google Forms. Now, any place in the survey, we can add in videos, images, and additional text. So in order to continue, we are just going to click the Add a Question button to get to the next question. And indeed, what we can do is we can write a different kind of question. We can do a short answer. We can do a paragraph question. We can do a number of different things with the kind of question that we are going to give the client. So for example, we can write a short answer, and we can make this question something to the effect of a question that will require them to write something in. Now, once we've completed the form that we're going to have people fill out, we can actually go and we can take a look at some of the collaboration options. And what we can do with forms is we can actually add in collaborators. And so we can click this button, and we can add in different individuals that we are going to have working with us on the survey. We can also limit their activity, and then we can save changes. We are then ready to invite the person to become part of our survey administration. We can then preview the survey as it will appear to the person that's actually going to be filling it out. Then we can go back to the edit screen, and once we've completed it, we can then hit send. And what you're going to notice is we can actually send these forms direct to someone. So if you are doing an internal survey and you're working with someone on a project, you can actually do that. If you're sending them to a group of people, perhaps your clients and customers, you can do that. One of the things that you can also do is you can click this area, And you can then embed the entire form on your website. So for example, we can copy this entire code and then we can go to our website. We can give our form a title. We'll make sure the HTML is in correctly, and then we'll paste the code. We will then click Publish, and then that post is ready to be viewed. So let's take a look at the actual post. And what you'll notice now is that the entire form is scalable inside of your website. Now what you can also do is you can click this link and you can link directly to someone who wants to actually take a look at the form. So you don't have to put it on your website. You can send it directly to an individual. You can send a shortened URL, just as we did there. We can send that via email. Now, one important aspect of this process is that we can actually collect email addresses when the person fills out the form. And if that's the case, all we have to do is to click this button. And then once we've clicked the button, Google Forms will actually collect the email addresses of those who intend to fill out the survey. Now, one thing that you'll note is that while all of these activities are happening, this is being actually saved in your cloud drive, so that if we go back to the cloud drive, we can then take a look for this actual form. You'll see it on our Forms dashboard, and then if we go back to Google Drive, you will see the form there also. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are now going to take a look at Google Keep, which is a task manager and project manager. And we can do that inside of Google Drive by going inside of the selection box, scrolling down, and then clicking this icon that says Keep. Now, Google Keep revolves around notes, reminders, and lists. So one of the first things we can do is we can start a new list. And a list could be a project which gives you a series of tasks that you are going to do, and you can title your list first. And what you can do in association with this task is you can list all of the items that you will either need or all of the items that you will need to do. Now, each of these elements represents a task that needs to be done and that can be checked off. Now, once you've written in all the steps to the task, what you can do is you can actually add in a reminder which will serve as your due date. And you can pick a date and time. You can decide whether or not this is going to be a repeating event or whether or not it's going to be custom. We will say it does not repeat, and we will click Save. So now we have an event that's going to end or should end on a certain date. Now that we have a task and a number of clickable items when we have completed them, we can now bring in collaborators to this particular task. So for example, we can click this collaborator box, and then we can pick someone to actually share this task with. Once we do that, we can then click Save. And we can actually pick other collaborators. We can now add in images and even color code different things. If we want to change the order, all we have to do is drag and drop the content, and then click Done to save. Now, in order to see that due date on your actual calendar, you will have to have the reminders enabled on the calendar. And you'll see that here on the left side menu. For example, if we click this link, we'll see that our task goes away. If we click it again, it actually comes back. If we hover over this and we actually click it, we'll see that that is our task that is actually going to be due. We can then click on this task to go and visit it inside of Google Keep. And here we see our task list. Now, as each item is completed, we'll click it off. And then eventually the task will be complete. Once the task is complete, it can be archived. And we'll see that it says Note Archived here at the bottom, and we can actually start a new list. And you'll actually see the very same thing inside of the collaborators window. So Google Keep can be used to collaborate on tasks as well as to track progress. And you can use this with outsourcers, clients, or even partners on your project. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You are now looking at the first results for Google Hangouts. And what we're going to do is we're going to visit Google Hangouts by clicking this link. Google Hangouts will allow us to collaborate with others in real time using multimedia. We can either use a phone call, a video call, which allows for screen sharing, or we could just use chat. Regardless, we can find individuals in our contacts starting a new conversation, or we can simply start a video call. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead into Google Hangouts, starting a video call so that we can take a look at screen sharing. Now we are inside of the actual Hangout, and what we have done is we have gone to this corner box and we have clicked the screen sharing button, and we're sharing the screen where we're working on the document so that we can also work on it with our collaborators. Now what we could do in holding the conversation is we could actually hold that conversation with other collaborators through chat, or we can hold it through video. So what we would need to do from this point is to invite the people that we actually want to be there. Once we have them, we're going to click Invite. And then that person is actually going to get a notification. So what we can do is to talk to people and interact in real time. So we can click the mic, which will allow us to be muted while someone else is talking. And then everyone will actually have the opportunity to interact over the document that we are working on. Now this Hangout is designed for conversations. It's not necessarily designed for archiving the conversation that you're having. Now in the next video, we're actually going to show you a small workaround that you can use in order to have the same kind of conversation using Google Tools, yet have your conversation archived. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. You are now looking at youtube.com, and what we're going to do is we're going to set up for semi-private meetings. And in order to do that, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a place for us to archive all of our meetings. And we're going to go to this area of your YouTube channel where it says YouTube Settings. Once you click YouTube Settings, what you're going to notice is that the very last link says See all my channels or create a new channel. You are going to create a new channel. You'll notice here that it says to create a new channel, so you're going to click that button. And then you're going to give that brand account a name. Once you've done that, you're going to click Create. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to your Creator Studio. That's going to bring you to this channel link. And you're going to want to be enabled for live streaming. So you're going to click Enable. Google is going to take you through an account verification process. You'll want to go through that process, and once you've completed Google's verification process, you'll then be ready to start the next step. Once you're back in your YouTube channel, what you're going to do is you're going to click the Events link. That's going to bring you to this page. You're going to click New Live Event. You're actually going to give your event a title. And what you're going to do then is you're going to go to this drop-down menu and you're going to make it private. Now what you're going to do now is you're now going to click the either Go Live Now button, or you're going to actually click this area that specifies a time. So in this particular case, we're just going to click the Go Live Now button. YouTube is going to give us a message saying that we're doing a Hangout on air. We're going to click OK. Now the interface for Hangouts on air is slightly different. Now you'll notice that there is a camera there. The camera currently is being turned off. You can turn that on. Any of your guests can turn on their camera in the very same way in this area. So the first thing we want to do is we want to find out if we can reach our guests and if they are available to meet. And we're going to do that by going to invite people, and we're going to put their email address in this area. And then we're going to click invite. Now that invitation has been posted to that individual, and now they will get notice as to whether or not they can actually attend. That person will get an email saying that they have been invited to a call. And they can choose to join by clicking this button. You'll notice now that there are now 2 people that are part of the call. And you actually have a blank screen. So now what we want to do is we want to be able to share the screen so that we can begin to work on the document with the other individuals in the actual room. So we're going to click Screen Share. And now we're sharing the actual document on screen. But there's one more step that we want to take because we want to be able to archive this with the other individuals so that once it's over, we will have a recording. And in order to do that, we have already set the parameters to private, so we can actually broadcast this without any fear that there is going to be anyone else watching. Our privacy settings means that the only people that are going to be able to see the broadcast are going to be those that are actually on the call. So what we're going to do is we're going to click the Start Broadcast button. Now you'll notice that it says that the Hangout on Air will now be broadcast on YouTube. That means then that it will be broadcast privately and that the recording will be there once we've completed the meeting. So what we're going to do is we're going to click OK. So then the Hangout on Air will actually begin. It will actually begin recording. We'll work through the document. And then at some point, the meeting or the Hangout will end. Now, obviously, we can use the group chat. That will not be recorded. But any discussion that will be had between people verbally will be caught on the actual recording. So anyone that speaks, they'll be able to be on camera. They'll actually also be able to be on audio. What we'll need to do then at the end of this call is we're going to click Stop Broadcast. So now that the broadcast has been stopped, we can actually click Stop Screen Sharing. And we can now click Hang Up. And what you'll notice, it says that the Hangout on Air is now over and the recording is now being broadcast and uploaded to YouTube. And sure enough, if we go to our video manager, we can see that there is our meeting having been archived. So that is how you would actually work around the fact that Google Hangouts can be used for meeting, working, and collaborating, and yet archiving for central purposes. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. You are now at google.com, and you'll notice that the word voice is in the search parameters, and the very first result that will come up is typically going to be Google Voice. This is going to give us access to a voice over IP number as well as a place where we can receive text messages. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click Google Voice. And Google Voice is described as a family phone number, but it can really be for your business. So what you're going to do is you are going to click this button that says Get Google Voice. And we're going to choose the medium that you're going to be operating in. In most cases, it's going to be the web. So we're going to go ahead and click Web. We're going to go ahead and follow the prompts. And Google will suggest certain numbers based on your part of the country. You're going to go ahead and select one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click Next. Google will then send you through a verification process that you'll need to add a phone number to connect to your Google Voice number. They'll send you a code and then you'll verify with typically what's going to be your mobile device. Now, once you've completed the verification process, you have a fully functioning number. You can actually send a text message, you can make a voice call, and you can receive voicemail. Now, one particular thing that you want to take note of in the settings area is voicemail. And what you can do is you can actually receive a transcript of the actual voicemail if you turn it on. It is not on by default. Now, the transcript is not perfect, but it will give you sometimes an idea of what's being said before you actually have to listen or make a call back. Now, by default, Google will attach the number that you use to verify the account to your Google Voice account. You do not have to have that number attached to the account because what's going to happen is the calls that get forwarded from your Google Voice number will go to the number that you use to verify. Now, if you just wanted to have this to be a standalone number, you can actually go in and delete that number. So what we're going to do is we're going to click this X. And you'll notice here that we get a warning from Google that we will no longer be able to use Google Voice from that number, and we won't be able to forward calls to that number. And we don't want to use Google Voice for that purpose anyway. So we're going to go ahead and click delete. And what you're going to notice is that all of the messages are actually going to go now to your email. What you can do is you can actually turn off message forwarding and send them to voicemail, which is all going to be on Google. And everything runs through your email address, so you'll get notifications through your email. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about using Google Docs offline. Now, Google Docs requires an internet connection in order to work with the documents as we see them here in our dashboard. However, we can actually work with them offline. Now, in order to work with Google Docs offline, what we're going to need to do is we are going to need to find the Google Docs offline application. And we can search for it inside of the Chrome Web Store. And once we find it, we can just click Add to Chrome. What we're going to need to do now is we're going to need to go to our Google Drive and then our settings. And when we get to Google Drive, we'll just find our settings. And when you check the settings for offline, you might find that Google will tell you that your status is in holding. So if that's the case, typically the problem is that you do not have the backup and sync software installed on your personal computer. So you'll need to go and download that now. Now, if you search for the words download Google Drive or Google Sync download, you will find the right location, and that'll bring you to a site that looks like this. What you'll need to do is you'll need to click download, backup, and sync. And once you have synced your drive with your personal computer, you will then have access to your Google Docs on your hard drive so that you can work on them whether or not you have an internet connection or not. Now, once you are certain that the program is running, as you can see here, we can look at it in our right-hand corner. We'll need to make sure that there are two applications running inside of Google Chrome so that we can actually edit and work with our documents offline. In order to make sure they're running, we'll need to go to our extensions, and we can find that by going to the right-hand menu. We'll need to go to More Tools, and then we'll need to go to Extensions. And there'll need to be the application launcher that's running in our extensions, as well as Google Docs offline. Provided that these two applications are enabled and running, you will then be able to edit and work with your documents offline and have them sync whenever you are online. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. In conclusion, We are now looking at G Suite, and G Suite is actually the paid version of all of the apps that you have seen in this course. As of the recording of this course, the G Suite package is fairly inexpensive and comes with over 1 terabyte of storage space on Google Drive. The package comes with phone support and actually is designed to integrate all of the applications that you have seen in this course, including video and video conferencing. Now, one aspect of G Suite that makes collaboration easy is that you can actually have your company email attached to Gmail, so that where you're looking at a Gmail box, it would actually have your company's domain. You also get 30 gigabyte of inbox storage for each of the users inside of your company. And so one way to integrate everyone who's on your team is to bring them all on one team at a fairly inexpensive price, whether you bring them on at a basic level or a business level. For example, using sites in G Suite means that you can actually have your site to be private. You can restrict access to only those people that are going to be on your team. In another example, the Hangouts function inside of G Suite allows you to connect to meeting rooms instead of the workaround that was discussed in one of the videos. And finally, one other aspect of G Suite is universal search, so that you can have one search location and you can search across your calendars, your documents, your forms, and all in one place. This is a very convenient way to actually monitor and audit your content. So if you are looking to upgrade the Google applications that you are using free, G Suite may be an option, as it is very inexpensive and gives you productivity advances. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.